Very first topic we're talking about is the recession. So you want to put up that lower third again, Manny? So I'm not seeing it here. Thank you for being patient with us, guys. I know we started a little bit late. We're supposed to start at 11:30 Pacific. I don't see it. 2:30 Eastern. But okay, is the market recession coming? All right, so let's start with Chris. Your opinion.
110% a market recession is coming.
Why?
It's a fact. I don't think it's up for debate.
All right. No debate. This is the debate show, but there's no debate. All right, RJ.
I think the recession's already here. We've already seen, Q1, the GDP going down. We're seeing things now in the real estate world where longer days on market, price reductions, wholesale deals not selling in markets like Phoenix, Dallas, places where it was almost instantaneously sold. Now we're seeing where we're getting lower offers than the asking price and things along those lines. So I definitely think that we're already in the recession.
Well, you're feeling it, but do you think this is going to stay? Do you think this is going to be the new norm?
Yeah, I don't see anything that's going to change it anytime soon.
Eric?
Yeah, I think it's an obvious yes, right? Like I was fortunate enough to be able to see a gentleman by the name of Bruce Norris speak yesterday at the Collective Genius. Biggest issue is we have an affordability problem, right? I think everybody knew for the last 2 years there was no way that you could pace what we were seeing as far as appreciation and price increases. And it'll just be a matter of, I think, how big the impact is in individual markets. I think for the most part, the markets that saw the biggest increase in value in the last 2 years will probably see an equal, if not greater, reset. And some of the areas that didn't enjoy some of the big spikes in values over the last 2 years probably won't be hit as hard. I think the one thing you'll see from all three of the people here, if we've been around long enough, that a lot of the stuff that you're going to have to get back to doing in dispo and acquisitions is what you had to do 3 years ago to get a deal under contract and buy it anyway. And what you're going to actually have to have a deal to sell it to someone now. They're not going to buy it because the rates are low. They're going to buy it because it's a good price.
Yeah.
So I think my answer would be absolutely yes.
So let me put a different point out there, right? We've all been doing this for a while, but we saw what happened 2 years ago, with COVID, like everything shut down, right? Everyone had a little bit of a freak out moment, and then it came roaring back. Now, I'm not suggesting it's going to roar back, but if interest rates drop back and the Fed drops back, right? Because they got to figure out if they want to fight recession or they want to fight inflation. They can't fight both, or they can try to fight both, but that would be interesting. But they got to pick one or the other. But if interest rates go down, right, at the Fed, and mortgage rates go back to the threes, you don't think we'll go back to right where we just were?
I don't see that happen, and I think we're in a forced recession. I think interest rates have been intentionally, obviously, raised with the intent to slow down spending. I think that's the goal of the Fed, is to reset things and slow down some spending. When you really just take a look at everything in totality. Eric just made a comment. We've all been doing this for a really long time. I've been doing it 12 years. This has been a roaring market for at least 7 years. At least 7 years has been a roaring market. I remember when I first started out, if you could put a house on the market and sell it within 30 days, like you were like a legend. Like if you could list a house in 2010 and it sold within 30 days at your asking price, that was a beautiful thing. Having a house on the market for 2 to 3 months at a time was normal. We've been in this market recently, Steve, right, where I put out houses and they have multiple offers within 24 hours.
Yeah,
that's not common. That's not normal. So we're stepping back down, and I think that's okay.
You said 12 years, CJ?
Yeah.
So 2010. RJ.
2010.
Here's a good question for you. Each of the people on this call, would you rather have 2016? Because RJ, you said you started January 2015, right? CJ was around long enough. Steve, you've been around. Would you rather have 2016 market or 2020?
2016 all day.
All day, right? Like we benefited from the prices in 2020 but it got much harder for us to buy a deal. You had this influx of, a ton of new wholesalers, institutional buyers. What we saw is the benefit on the ability to be able to sell a house quicker for maybe more money. It was equally, if not more challenging. My cost per lead went up, cost per contract went up. Now, luckily it was incremental, but I mean, honestly, I remember looking at 2017 and being in different real estate groups and masterminds and everybody going, man, I can't imagine it getting much better than this. That was 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago.
When'd you start?
Me?
Yeah, you.
2005.
2005. Okay, so you've been in this the longest. So I was kind of remarking to, I was talking to Chris McLaughlin a couple days ago, and you remember back in the day, like to qualify for a mortgage, you just had to have a pulse.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of felt like the last couple of years, like if you could find a deal, you were a wholesaler. Like that's it. If you could find a deal, I am a full-time wholesaler.
You didn't even have to find a deal. You just had to find a house.
That's true.
Right? Like you just had, and then literally for the longest time, all you had to do, Steve, you lost you. We're going to keep going though.
Yeah, keep going.
And you could lock up a deal and still dispo it because you just had to find a bigger idiot. And there was a lot of people out there that were quote unquote idiots because interest rates would influence them to pay a price that didn't make sense.
Yep.
So, and you could literally buy a house like CJ's talking about. Like if you sell a house in 90 days prior to 2020, you were really, really good, right? Like in 2020, it would behoove you to hold that bitch for 6 months because it would go up 15% to 20% in value.
Yeah. If you bought a deal with no equity in 6 months, you
had equity in 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, and this is something I've been telling people for a long time now as far as wholesaling goes. We've all been using and abusing the hedge funds for our dispositions. And I've been saying, listen, it's going to just come a random Tuesday out of nowhere. You're going to get fucking emails that say, we're not buying anymore. And it just happened a couple of weeks ago where all of a sudden they're backing out. We're talking about hedge funds are walking away from deals, releasing the earnest money. And where are you at now? You didn't have a wholesaling business if you weren't able to actually buy deep and find the actual local landlord, the local rehabber. If you were solely relying on hedge funds, then you're probably in a world of hurt right now.
So I think about to RJ's point, take 2008, and if you could get a mortgage if you had a pulse, the replacement in 2020 was the hedge fund, right? Yeah. So away with the unqualified borrower and replace them with an unqualified cash purchaser.